We will be right back with an extraordinary man who has an extraordinary story, very inspiring to us all. Johnny Seitz is joining us next. This is Lisa Garr. You're listening to Aware on KPFK. Welcome back to Aware. Hi, this is Lisa Garr. And joining me next is an extraordinary story of a very exceptional man. He's an internationally recognized mime. He's a personal life coach. He's a professional ballet dancer, which I didn't know, a choreographer, and he is an adult living with autism. Johnny Seitz is my guest, and he has developed an ability to read people's body language. Basically, he developed this out of a necessity to survive. And little did he know this would lead him to teaching these techniques at Harvard and NYU and Princeton, and ultimately he was asked to write a book about his discoveries so that we all can learn this very valuable technique of reading people, very simple too, which I like that you kept this simple. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Hi.
How are you?
Nervous.
Yes, you are so sweet. You don't need to be nervous. If you've ever heard my show before, I make people very comfortable, just like a conversation we're having here.
Actually, you make me very comfortable. I really enjoyed meeting you yesterday at the studio.
Yeah, I came by your studio.
I felt safe.
Oh, and that has a lot, thank you very much for saying that. That has a lot to do with how you respond to people. Tell me a little bit about your story, about how you got to, or why you started reading people's body languages. Languages.
Languages is appropriate.
Yes.
I was born a head-banging, rocking, autistic child. I mean, it didn't probably come out until I was like about a year and a half old, but I am different than other people. My head works differently. And symptomatically, I've got a bunch of crazy things that go with under the autism spectrum. One of them is that I'm face blind, which means I met you yesterday, but if you were wearing different clothes or your hair looked different and you came in and said, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing?" I'd be looking at you and looking at my wife, "Honey, who is this?" And I would suddenly have to take from your body, okay, they know me. And I'd have to figure out backwards from what I'm taking in at the moment who the person was. But I started off with a few other things. Most autistic kids, or at least this one, I banged holes in my headboard at night to go to sleep. I pounded against chairs all day long, sitting. And almost everyone in the world was like this amorphous gray mass imposing themselves on me. The odd individual being color, which means I could see them, I could hear them, I could deal with them. But for the most part, they were just this aggressive, dangerous noise. So when I'd meet somebody, neurotypical says, "Oh, this is a person who wants to talk to me," I see somebody attacking me.
Because of your hypersensitivity to the feelings that were coming from that person?
Have you ever been with you have a cat, say, and someone walks in the room and the cat just responds negatively?
Right.
And you look at the person, and the neurotypical, the non-autistic person would say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with this person, it's my cat's weird." But the cat is reading energy, blocked energy, anger, frustration,
Wow.
different stuff that lives in the muscles of the person that affect the way they walk, the way they breathe, the way they move. I see these things, and so most people are overwhelming. You'll notice I'm not looking you in the eyes right now, because if I look you in the eyes, I'm going to forget what I'm saying.
Okay.
And so I take in the energy, the shape, the muscles, the resistance to movement, the tension in the body and the voice, and I respond to that. But being face blind, have no idea how to cope with people, so I generally cope with them by having them being aggressive people invading my space, and I want them out of there, and I want to deal with them and be safe. I made bad first impressions into a full-time thing.
So when you see someone, in order for you not to retreat into your world for hours or maybe even days, you developed a mechanism for your survival to read this person's energy so that you can actually operate like a non-autistic person, because that was what you wanted to do.
Yeah, what I did was I learned how to look at the adult in front of me and see the child that they were when they first got to their feet. And that's written in the way they use their bodies and the way they hold themselves upright, the way they breathe. And from that, I was able to draw up a set of rules of engagement. How to, when I met you, I looked at you, I saw your feet were parallel and about 2 inches apart, and I saw you were breathing using the lower back to lift your chest. And I said, okay, this is a backward follower. I know how to talk to her. She wants things presented in a step-by-step fashion. She wants to be, if I approach her too closely without giving her enough information, she's going to run away or back off. And I learned...
Right on about me, too.
So I learned to categorize people into the child that they were. And I see that by the way they hold their body. And this book that you're talking about that I just wrote is an explanation of how the child that you were and the psychological juxtaposition you had to your world is written for the rest of your life in the way that you stand, walk, and breathe.
I want to talk to you about that. First of all, looking at people as the children they were is such a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
I mean...
That's all. I don't have a choice because I'm a child.
What a beautiful thing to do, because all children are born innocent. We all come into this world innocent. And to look at a person, at a person as an adult, to see through their soul as that innocence that they came in with is such a gift. If we all could do that, we would see the beauty in everyone, and evil would be eradicated from this world, Johnny.
I have
I'm telling you.
A little of a politically dangerous viewpoint in that I think there's nothing wrong with a lot of the aspects of autism. When I'm with my autistic, I have an adult group of autists that I get together with every month. We talk from our hearts with no agendas, no second meanings, no neurotypicals. Everything they say is carefully measured in advance as to whether it's politically correct, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate, whether it's going to reveal too much about themselves. Autistic people say exactly what they're feeling, what they're thinking, with no holdbacks, like children.
Yes.
I have a poem in the book that says, I'm an adult you do not understand in the body of a child that you don't see. So the only way I can relate to adults is to find the child.
What was the name of that tape you gave me?
God does not make garbage.
Yes.
It's a mime video, and it's just 7 poems that I wrote, and me doing mime to show adults and parents what the world of the autistic adult or a child looks and feels like from the inside. And I think it's really important to try and open those doors so that that people can see their autistic child from the child's viewpoint. My wife and I speak at conferences a lot, and she's a psychotherapist. I'm a trained dog. In other words, I can be impressive and do mime, but I don't know all that she knows about dealing with autistic children and designing, interactive strategies and all that. I just know how this autistic adult sees things and feels things and why I do what I do. So I'm able to explain to parents and teachers why adult kids stim, why they do a lot of the funny things that they do.
And you were very fortunate to have a mother that maybe was ahead of her time and how to parent you. What were some of the things that your mother did with you that now you carry through adulthood and that you could help impression on parents with autistic children?
I think the most important thing she did was she totally trusted her intuition. And she said that if I felt something or wanted to do something, it was good, because God or the universe did not make me to want anything that was bad. And if what I wanted was to drop eggs on the kitchen floor, most mothers would say, stop that immediately. Instead, she dropped a few with me to find out why I did it, what the fascination was. She honored everything I felt, even if it was kind of strange or destructive. And in so doing, she nurtured me to become who I am today.
Now, did she actually say, like, I was telling you the other day, my daughter was jumping in these puddles. And I had just gotten her dressed and everything, and I knew that I was going to have to get her undressed after that. So my first instinct was to go, because we were late, and I'm like, all right, let it go, Lisa, let it go, because the day before, she and my husband, it was a weekend, they went puddle jumping in the rain, and they had a great time. So why would I think that she thought it would be okay one day and not okay the next day? So I kind of caught myself and let go of where we were going and let her jump in the puddles and get all muddy. It took me a while. Did your mother say, that's good? Or did she let go of that good-bad judgment and just let you do it?
She let go of that good-bad judgment. Something else that about the way my head works, I live in theta. Most people live in alpha and beta. When you're talking,
right.
And they put me on a machine once that registers where you are in alpha, beta. And the idea of the biofeedback machine was to be able to try to get there and you see how you were doing. Well, they connected me up. It's where you go when you meditate, and yogis levitate in theta is where you're trying to get.
Right, okay.
They hooked me up and started unhooking me and rehooking me and tapping the machine saying there's something wrong here. All your brain waves are in theta. And they just are. That means that this moment is all there is. There's no context. Jumping in puddles is bad because you're going to go somewhere next. There's only this right now. So when I look at you, I look at you the way I would look at somebody who was coming at me with a gun, or someone that, whatever reason, I'm 100% in the here and now, this instant.
You know, most people work a lifetime to get to that place.
So I'm told.
Johnny.
I get to teach people.
They write books about it.
I get to teach people in my studio what it feels like to be more toward where I am. And I often say, look at me. Do you hear any noise going on in my head? And I said, and they say, no, not really. And I said, the conversation in your head is so loud, it's overwhelming me.
Yes, 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 it's so true. I mean, there's meditation classes, there's sits on mountains, there's audio tapes done on that very thing, how to be the power of now, how to be in the now. And most people teach about something that you are.
Yeah.
And they call this an illness?
There are, I wouldn't trade my autism to be neurotypical for anything on earth. And I can't say that all autistic children, I know children whose head have to wear crash helmets because they do so much damage to their head. Not all people with autism would not give it up. Because I have the good fortune to be a very high-functioning autistic person, even though I started out more classic than Asperger's.
Really? And what a beautiful phrase, Johnny.
Which one?
You wouldn't trade it for the world. Wow.
What would you know, people say, what does it feel like to be autistic? And I say, what does it feel like having brown eyes? I don't know what it would feel like not to have brown eyes any more than you do.
Right.
We both have brown eyes.
Back to the body types. I totally am like beautifully in this moment with you here.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, by the way, for inviting me with you. What is the body types? You said there are 3 ways that you look at, and you call it biotyping. What are the 3 different types of...
Every single person got to their feet in one of 3 ways. The reason there's only 3 is that most of the muscle systems in the body have 3 parts. And which muscles you use to get to your feet began a process of making certain muscles more available and other muscles less available. What's important is that the way in which you approach and solve problems, the way in which you take in information, is predicated on how you feel and think and is reflected in the body that you stand up in today. So I can look at your body and see the child that you were, know how you approach situations, people, how you take in information, and I can interact with you safely. But it also, on the flip side, lets people really get a look at the child that they were, lets them look back and see the child that maybe they forgot in the uniform or the role that they're in today. And there are 3 of them. And me, I climbed up the first available chair or wall, didn't bother to stand up all independent of it, lurched forward and just kept catching myself as I fell forward. And because of this, I run my life. You know, if you were to call me up as a telemarketer and say, I've got a product, I'd say, what does it do? What? What does it do? What do I get out of it? You are a backward faller. You got to your feet independent of external support. Your parents left you alone to a certain degree, allowed you to discover your body, and you took care not to fall. So you got your feet under you. You used your lower back to lift your chest up and stand, and then you look at the world, decide where you're going to go, and you begin to go step by step toward it. The 3rd child inevitably grew up in a challenged environment. They felt less safe. So they got to their feet using hands and feet and stand over a wide base. If you look at Jay Leno or David Letterman, we're talking 2 classic torso sway walkers. Nobody knocks these people down. They're very rooted in where they're coming from. But each of the 3, as you said in the beginning, speaks a different language, needs to hear things brought to them in a different way.
So who would we know in the public eye or as a public figure that is the backward faller, somebody who was raised with finding their own support? Is that right?
Somebody who's independent by nature, who tends to go places in a step-by-step logical fashion with a goal in mind. George Bush, for example, is a backward faller. You'll notice he has his feet about 2 inches apart, and he's very on his heels, looking, observing, deciding in advance and doing. Bill Clinton, legs a torso sway walker, widespread feet. If they had thought about it, they wouldn't have tried to make him back down because he wasn't ever going to back down.
Okay, so how would you tell when you're looking at someone who's a backward faller, someone who's got their feet...
This is so simple, it
like
hurts. If you find a line on the concrete or put a line on the floor and walk, try walking and then walk 1 time with your heels touching the center line, 1 time with your feet at shoulder width, and one time with your feet about 2 inches apart. One will feel perfectly normal, and the other two will feel weird. And yet everyone you look at in the entire world walks in one of these three ways. There are 5 tests in the book so that you can look at breathing, balance, dorsal flexion. I did some of these with you yesterday. But
wait, it takes me a while for your backward follower is someone. I'm just going to make it complicated for a second.
Go for it.
This is because you know I need to know things by steps, right? So someone who's a backward follower, their feet, if they were to draw a line across it, their feet would only be about 2 inches apart, right?
Yes.
Someone who's a forward follower, more less independent, right? Where would their feet?
They'd be crisscrossing the line. The heels would be landing on the line.
Oh, okay. And someone who's a wider torso
sway walker, their feet would be landing shoulder width apart.
And this is helpful in learning how to communicate to other people.
Big
if you look
time.
at the, so you know who you're dealing with.
I call them railroad people. Hi, you're a railroad person. That means you move with your feet roughly parallel and about 2 inches apart down a track in a step-by-step, station-by-station fashion going toward where you're getting. And if I try and rush you, you're going to, whoa, go back. A pyramid person, the torso sway walker, who's over a wide base and has to, I call him the my way or the highway kind of person, because unless it has something to do with something that they're interested in, they're going to look at you like immovable, like a pyramid. And the third one is like an inverted pyramid on its tip, ready to fall over, left, right, forward, wherever.
Right. Inverted pyramid. Very interesting. These are great visuals. I'm drawing. So, so the whole idea here is so that, adults and you can even look at children this way, because it's after they've, started walking and so forth. You can see exactly where these people
you get into hemispherical interface. In other words, if a child crawls, left hand, right leg, right hand, left leg, they're using alternately the left and right hemispheres. And the left hemisphere holds analysis and logic. The right hemisphere holds intuition and movement. The hemispheres of the brain. And the child's hemispherical crossover is formed early on in childhood. But to give you an example of how this works, my wife is a backward faller like you.
Okay.
I come in, and we used to do deep jungle tourism, and I say, hey, I want to build this really beautiful tower 70 feet up in the sky so we can look down and see the river. And then she does something that threw me off totally. She says, oh, wait, where do you think you're going to get the land? How are you going to get the... Why, you don't want to hear it? You don't like my idea? I love your idea. Then why are you arguing? I'm not. Because she goes in a step, but that's how she loves and supports me.
Wow.
But I think she's fighting with me and negating me.
Right.
And she thinks I'm ill thought out and ill prepared in charge of barging. So this is the book is basically my rules of engagement for finding a way to interface with people seamlessly. And again, I made really bad first impressions. This is about making a good first impression before you even meet the person.
Now, how does this compare to like other personality typing, systems?
Myers-Briggs, for example, all you have to do to make a good first impression is ask them quietly 600 questions. It doesn't take more than 3 hours, and at the end of which you'll be able to extrapolate whether they're introverted, extroverted, and you'll get one of 26 parameters that you can use. And it's a very, very effective system if you have the time.
Right.
Styles, there are lots of ways of looking at people. None of them provide the opportunity before you meet the person to know how to react to them, and there's only 3.
But this is very simple. Now, how did you develop?
Because I'm pretty simple.
This is good. How did you develop this type of system?
I wasn't aware that I had developed it until one day, 4 or 5 years ago, I'm talking to my wife, and I'm saying, that it's so typical of railroad people that you're doing this, and she says, what are you talking about? See, autistic people tend to assume that you know what's in their mind because I know, so you must know. And she asked me what the heck I was talking about. And she said, Johnny, wait a minute, stop. You have to write this down. And she says that I'm pretty normal in social situations and pass pretty good. And it's only because I'm using this system. I just never verbalized it and told people about it.
You just didn't know
that they didn't know
Nobody else did this.
Right.
You thought everyone did this.
Right.
Well, that's a very interesting word. Johnny Seitz, sorry, is that I'm saying that?
Seitz.
Yeah. Is my guest. And the name of this book is called Biotyping, Beyond Body Language. And can this be found at...
Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, iUniverse.com.
Now, what do you do now?
I run a studio in Culver City where people come to me for a myriad of reasons. And I first tell them the body they really have, which usually comes as a surprise, because they've been trying to do sit-ups the way that somebody on television or at the gym does and having a really hard time and getting hurt. And then I show them where their body is holding blocked and locked tension, because to me it screams out. But most people don't know it. So I'll see people with a lot of neurotension locked up in the throat. And I'll say, do you find it really hard to express yourself until you get really mad? And they say, yeah, how did you know? I said, how come you don't know? Right. I'm surprised that other people don't see this.
So you can see pain in people's bodies.
Absolutely.
Based on how they hold their body.
I can see past trauma. I can see blank spots where something happened and they just close that part of their body or the mind down. One time I had a person come to me, and we were talking, and she was a friend, and she started crying. And she was in a classic fetal position, curled up, only her body was broken at the waist. Her pelvis was not connected to her chest. And so I started working with her, just using the muscles that connect the chest to the pelvis. And when I saw the disconnection, I knew that her sexual part was disconnected from her heart part. And all I did was use the muscles that connect the two. And when I showed her how her biotype needed to move to access that muscle, emotion came. She'd laugh, she'd cry, she'd get mad, and then she'd let it go. And as the two parts of the body came together, just by using the muscles, we're not doing talk, we're just bringing the muscles together, suddenly her life and the relationships in her life totally shifted.
Wow. Now, this you can basically do with anyone, right? If you ask someone a question, you can see the reaction in their body and see the trauma that happened in their life and help them release it.
Well, actually, my wife is a psychotherapist who just graduated she graduated years ago from a college of psychology. And she initially told me later that she started studying psychology to validate the work that I do, because I'm just a personal trainer. And one thing led to another, and I'm now on the faculty of that College of Psychology, teaching budding young psychotherapists something that to me is obvious and to them is not, and that is how to look at the body and read stuck emotions that are locked up in muscles that are just getting charges from something that is not current or dead because they're not receiving information. How to see the beginnings of an innervation pattern, like you ask them a question and all of a sudden they make a tensing of the body that, if you know what to look for, is, I want to run away. And then you ask them, well, what do you think? And they say, nothing. Wait a minute, your body just said. So I teach people how to look at the body and find what's going on. And
you're so sensitive to that, too, which is really amazing. And we, most people, I don't know if they could see that initial jerk away in the person's body because you're so used to looking at stuff like that. Maybe you're just very attuned to it, which is a huge gift, Johnny.
At first, I thought maybe I was psychic, seeing things that weren't there.
Energy healer. That's what people would call you.
That's the word people use that I never would have.
Yeah.
But when I sat down and tried to figure out what the touchable, testable parameters of difference that I was looking at were, they broke down into very easily teachable things that anyone can learn. If you want, I got a bunch of this information on my website, too.
Okay, I'm sorry, I've ran out of... Go ahead, give it to us.
It's www.biotyping.com, one word, BIOTYPING. And it talks a lot about the stuff I teach at the college and about the stuff I do at the studio.
Biotyping.com. I totally encourage people to look at this website because Johnny Seitz is truly an extraordinary man. I said that at the beginning, didn't I?
The book begins with the word biotyping, beyond body language.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you so much for being here. See, now, wasn't that easy?
No, it was terrifying.
It was not. It was easy.
I haven't peed myself or anything, so I'm doing great.
You're doing great. Right? No, you're fine. I love you.
Isn't she sweet, honey?
That's it for me today, and while I'm committed to bringing you the clearest information possible, in the end, I always encourage you to listen to your own truth. Until tomorrow, I invite you to stay aware.